Hey everyone, Certified High Performance Coach Michelle Weimer here with you today. Today we are starting a new series, and I am going to be spending the next several weeks talking about the lies that worry tells us. So there's a quote by Anthony DeMilo, and I'm going to read it to you because it's a little bit long. The quote is, "There's only one cause of unhappiness, the false beliefs you have in your head, the beliefs so widespread, so commonly held, that it never occurs to you to question them." And so, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking over the next several weeks about the lies that worry tells us. So think about those times when you are laying awake in the middle of the night worrying or stressing over something, and all of this, that again, the stress, the anxiety that worrying brings up for you. And in particularly, there are three really big lies that are very, very common when it comes to worry. And so those lies are: number one, the worst is going to happen, right? So we're worrying, we're thinking about things, all this stuff is coming up for us, and at the root, right? So what I'm talking about when I talk about these three big lies, I'm talking about most of our worry being a version of one of these three big lies in some way. So at the core of the worry, so it may not sound exactly like the worst is going to happen, but this is at the core often the worry that we have, or why all this stuff is coming up for us. The second big lie that worry often tells us is you can't handle it. Like, you can't handle this. It's going to be too hard. You're not good enough. You can't do it. That you can't handle it is often that core belief that comes up when we start worrying about something. And then the last big lie that I'm going to be covering over the next few weeks, and in one of the most common lies, is this is going to last forever. This will last forever. And we feel like at times things are permanent and there's not going to ever be a change and there's no way to get out of it. And or maybe it's, we're going to have to deal with it forever and ever. Whatever the worries are that come up for you, again, think about them. Think about the root of those worries and see if you can identify if it's one of these three main big lies that worry tells us. The worst is going to happen, you can't handle it, or this will last forever. So today I want to talk about the first worry, the worst is going to happen, and I want to give you some tips and tools for how you can move yourself out of this state of worry and into a greater truth for yourself. Because when you can identify the truth for yourself, you can step into bolder action. You can be more courageous, right? And when you're more courageous, that's when you step into the bolder action. Um, and you can really start to overcome the worry because, okay, when you're more courageous, you take bolder action. And when you take action, action eliminates anxiety and worry, right? So let's talk about how to change this lie that the worst is going to happen. So what I do with many of my clients is I have an exercise called the what if exercise. And so I allow them to dig into the what ifs. What if the worst thing does happen? What if I fail? What if this doesn't turn out like I want it to? What if I can't do this? What if this is a bad idea? What if, again, what if I fail? That, like, it all kind of starts to boil down to that, right? So go ahead and take these what ifs and these what if scenarios and write them out and keep asking the question. So for example, if you say, well, what if I quit my job and start this business I've been dreaming about? Okay, well, then first negative what if might be, what if it doesn't work out? What if I go bankrupt? What if I can't do this? What if I fail? And each time you ask yourself the what ifs, go ahead and go deeper. So what if I do go bankrupt? What would happen then? So what if I do fail at this? What would happen then? What if, what if, what if? And go ahead and dive down that rabbit hole. See where it takes you. What most people find when they get into the worst happening is they realize that no matter what, they're going to be okay. No matter what, the people who love them are going to still love them. And no matter what, they'll figure out a way to get out of it, to be okay, right? So then the next part of this what if exercise is to write out the answers to each of these what ifs with a positive solution. So what this does is it actually moves you forward from focusing on the problem to focusing on the solution. And when you focus on solution, then your brain starts to figure out ways to make it work, right? Your brain starts to shift its focus from all of the negatives, all of the problems that can occur, to how can I do this? How can I make this work? It looks for solution, and when you're looking for a solution, you start to feel empowered. And when you start to feel empowered, you start to feel more courageous. So again, what did I say earlier about when you start to have that courage, feel courageous and empowered, you're ready to take action. And when you take action on something that's troubling you, that you're worrying about, then you are put in a position where you can create solutions for yourself, where you can work on situations, and where you can eliminate the anxiety and the worry that's coming up for you. So, example of this, looking for a positive solution, you might even say to yourself, well, what if the worst happens? What's the solution? Like, well, I can ask for help. What if I can't do this? I can ask for help. What if this is hard? Well, maybe if it's hard, you need to figure out what you need to learn or what skill you might need to master in order to be able to do it easier. So you start to answer your what if questions with positive solutions, and this moves you forward into being more empowered, more courageous, and taking the actions. And then the last piece of this what if exercise is to think about and create positive what ifs. Now, here's the deal. It seems like 9 times out of 10, when we're worrying about something, we are only focusing on the negative what ifs. Like, that's where our brains naturally tend to go. But you know what? Things could work out, right? Like, so what if you took, there's a what if you took this lie that worry tells you of the worst is going to happen, and what if you said, what if the best happened? What if this was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life? Even if it's maybe a scenario you're worrying about that isn't such a great situation, but what if it's the best thing that ever happened to me? Like, say you're, getting a divorce and you're in a bad situation and it seems like the worst thing that could ever happen. But what if you change that to, what if this is the best thing that ever happened to me? What if I'm able to find myself through this difficulty or this struggle? What if things actually work out wonderfully? Like, what if I make this decision to quit my job and start my own business, and it's a huge success, and I love it, and I'm happy, and I'm content with life? So start to create the positive what ifs for your scenario and see where that takes you, because what will happen as you start to shift into the positive, you're going to start to feel excited. And when you are excited, you feel more courageous. You feel, again, more willing to jump out and step boldly into the actions that are going to get you to where you want to go. And when, again, you take action, you eliminate anxiety. And then worry no longer rules you. That false lie of the worst is going to happen is gone. So that is lie number 1. So again, remember, meet with me here every week, because over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be diving into the other 2 lies that worry tells us most often. And I'm going to continue to give you tips and tools on how to move through those worries and those lies and into your own truth. So make sure you join me here again next week. And until then, you know what? If you want more of what I'm teaching, please join me in the Success Mastery group. I'm going to be starting a new group in the next couple of weeks. And so right now is the time to join. You can go to michelleweimer.com/SMG, which stands for Success Mastery Group, and read more about it. And join me in this program so that we can continue to work together more. But until next week, thanks for joining me for Wednesday Wisdom. This is Certified High Performance Coach Michelle Weimer. No more worries. Bye for now.